The Prime Minister is on the verge of signing a new migrant deal with the French. 44,000 illegal migrants have broken into Britain in the last year. So, what Sir Keir Starmer managed to negotiate with President Macron. You ready? We will send just 50 people a week back to France, reportedly. So, just look at this migrant boat here now on your screens. Right? If he agrees this deal, Sir Keir Starmer will send back probably less than that boat every week. In fact, it amounts to sending one back for every 17 illegals that arrive. President Macron has taken more than £700 million of your money, done naff all with it, and is humiliating Sir Keir Starmer by saying that actually the problem is illegal migrants get too much for free in Britain, which of course he's right about. Today, the Prime Minister posted this picture on social media. It's him shaking hands all buddy-buddy with old Emmanuel. And he captioned that, quote, "working together to deliver for working people." Well, OK then, Sir Keir. What I'll do now is rattle off all the things that illegal immigrants and asylum seekers can get for free in Britain today. So here we go. As soon as they arrive, they get new clothes and shoes. They get free accommodation, some in 4-star hotels. They can get priority access to social housing. And if there isn't any social housing, then the taxpayer will pay, sometimes above market rate, for private rental accommodation. They get free mobile phones, no need to hang around on an NHS waiting list. They can have access to an on-site GP and dentists. Unfortunately, though, there's very little chance of those doctors or dentists using medical age verification checks to determine that they're not actually a child, they are in fact a 54-year-old man, because that would be against their human rights. Which is why we see stories like this. A Sudanese man with a beard and a receding hairline is, of course, a child. And you might be wondering how he paid for that court case. Well, they get legal help for free as well. In fact, you're going to pay £60 million a year for them to fight to stay in Britain because the government has just increased legal aid funding by 30%. If they have children, then they can get a free education. In fact, they can just keep having children because once you're getting everything else for free, you might as well crack on and let us pay for them as well. Maybe they can't understand how much free stuff they get in Britain. But that's fine because we'll give them an interpreter for free. But it gets worse. You are paying for illegal immigrants to learn how to become nightclub DJs. Croydon, a council placed into special measures with around £500 million of unpaid debts, is spending your money on trying to make migrant DJs a thing. But how will illegal migrants and asylum seekers travel around Britain? Well, in Oxfordshire, taxpayers were paying for illegal immigrants to have driving lessons and take their driving test. Look, it's really stressful getting all this free stuff. So some local councils are now paying for illegal immigrants to take yoga classes. Bristol Council, which faces 53 million quid in required savings, spent 270 grand of Home Office grants taking migrants to football matches. They can be given a free PlayStation. Cardiff Council is teaching illegals circus skills. Or maybe that is why so many of them can do a disappearing act. But of course, the big thing we seemingly let them do is this.
The hotel here, you can see there's a lot of Just Eat bikes here, a lot of Deliveroo bikes, loads of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whereabouts are you from? From
Yemen.
Yemen, you're from Yemen, okay. Okay, and did you get here by boat?
No English.
Whereabouts are you from? From Iran, okay, from Tehran or?
Sorry, you know.
You can if you want, free country.
Yeah, you know.
A shopkeeper in the shop behind me, he confirmed the hotel is an asylum hotel, and people he said arrived on small boats are now staying there. And he also said he's seen lots of the residents of the hotel doing work on Uber Eats, on Deliveroo.
Yes, of course, they can just work illegally for Deliveroo, Uber Eats. It's everything, isn't it? We're giving them everything for free, aren't we? I don't know, do you think I've missed anything? Oh, actually, yes, I have. Because the government says that it's deporting people, but in reality, they're paying around 53 million quid to make them leave. So you'll even get free money on the way out of Britain. I mean, that's the reality. And until that changes, sending 50 blokes a week back to France isn't going to make a blind bit of difference. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. We have got former Tory bigwig Jonathan Gullis, and of course broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Thank you very much. Great to have you both on, or all of you, in fact, on the show. Mark, I'll start with you. Right, OK, so we give them everything for free, don't we? This migrant deal, about 50 blokes a week going back, is pointless.
Risible. Window dressing, pathetic window dressing, entirely performative, not using a sledgehammer to crack a nut, not cracking the nut at all. I mean, in your monologue there, Patrick, you were channeling your inner Emmanuel Macron, weren't you? He's got a point, the French president. If people sincerely believe there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, they will go chasing to the end of the rainbow.
Especially if that pot of gold exists.
Yeah, this isn't a myth or a fairy tale here. This isn't a myth or a fairy tale. We've covered Dover Beach in gold. So, I mean, no wonder people are turning up. If you have got a magnet that strong, then all of the talk of smashing the gangs, arresting people, trying to get the French cops to stop them coming over is for the birds. Because with that amount of gold on Dover Beach and other beaches and at the hotels when you're putting them, of course people are going to risk their lives coming here.
Yeah, so from the second that you kiss British soil, Jonathan, you start getting stuff for free. And you don't stop getting stuff for free either until the day that you die here of natural causes at some point in your 70s or 80s, or we, on the vanishingly small possibility that we do deport you, will even give you money on the way out. Why not come to Britain?
Well, exactly, and this has been the problem all along, is not having an effective deterrent. And the deal that's coming out, where was it, one out and 17 in, or whatever it is, I mean, it's just laughable and risible, as Mark rightly said. I think it's about only 5% will actually be deported. That means you've got a 95% chance of remaining in the UK. So why on earth wouldn't you take the chance to put your hard-earned money from wherever, whichever illegal sources I'm sure that's been sourced from, into the hands of smugglers and get you across? And then, like you say, look, the Labour's, what's it pledged? They're going to end hotels by 2029, so still 4 more years of hotel use. And what they're not telling us is that the government's either buying up hotels in places like Bristol and Cardiff, or going to smash the private rented sector market, which means that British people in local communities are going to be paying more to live in predominantly substandard housing. Yeah, so, Nina, again, that's an extensive list of everything that you get for free. Can you become a DJ if you live in Croydon? Fantastic stuff. So why on earth should British taxpayers continue to pay for this? And when Keir Starmer released that picture and video of him and old Emmanuel today and said, working together for the working people, they're not, are they? Because working people are going to have to pay for all of that.
It's a very good start, I have to say. It's not everything, but it's a good start. And I'd like to point out several points. One is that migrants get benefits in France. They have health care, they go into social housing, they're given weekly money.
It's better here, though, isn't it?
It may be marginally better, but that's debatable. Very often, only about a third of migrants who come to France end up coming to Britain.
Right, thank God.
Well,
sorry, that's quite a lot.
That's massive.
Or they attempt.
Right.
Secondly, you know, when Starmer came in, this is the situation he inherited. He did not create this system, so he's been completely blamed for it. He has been trying to change it. Okay. So what was the worst thing was the fact we've given France all this money and they've done naff all, basically. Well, that was because since Brexit, we have not had a decent relationship with France. Where Boris Johnson blew the gates wide open, never mind taking back control. Boris Johnson...
Well, it didn't help that Emmanuel Macron tried to steal a load of vaccines during the COVID pandemic.
Never mind that. We needed to get a better relationship with France. And I've sat on the sofa every week and said, use the soft power of the king, which is done finally.
But go on, deal with the quality of this scheme, though. So fundamentally, is this a deterrent, 50 blokes going back a week?
Utterly trivial, isn't it? Jonathan's right. This does not tilt the odds or the winnings to an extent that it's likely to change any human behaviour. And in terms of Nina saying, well, you get benefits in France as well, the best thing to look at is how people actually act. How many people are risking their lives to flee Dover and try to make it to Calais? Don't think I've heard of any such example. So whatever's on the table here is clearly vastly more attractive to people than whatever is on the table in France.
One of the biggest draws that people come here is because they have family here.
Oh, come on.
There is a route for that, isn't there? There's family reconciliation. You don't need to cross the channel illegally.
Family, look, that's only Ukraine Afghanistan and Hong Kong.
But you can still make applications to the Supreme Court and to the ECHR.
You cannot make applications until you're here. There is no application.
So do you think it's over-generous, Nina, what we offer or not?
Well, you know, I think that the worst thing is actually that we have a real black market that people can disappear into.
Okay.
And also the Home Office should be making a better fist of that list.
People at home can make their own minds up about whether or not that is an extortionate amount of freebies to give someone who's broken into Britain, and whether or not you at home get anything like those level of freebies. But I'm going to squeeze in something else now, because at the start of the show, I told you that Sir Jake Berry, who occupies a position on this sofa most Monday evenings, has defected to Reform. He's the former chairman of the Conservative Party. He's released a video, so here it is.
Britain is broken. We literally live in a country where you cannot walk down the street with a phone in your hand. We have taxes that are so sky high, the brightest and best are leaving our country in droves. While at the same time, a benefit system that is bringing the world's poor to our shores with no control. If you literally want to design a system to destroy a country, you would struggle to do better. And I know who broke it, because I was there. For 30 years, I supported the Conservative Party. For 14 years, I was one of their MPs, sitting at that cabinet table twice. And I want to tell you today, my friends, that I have come to a decision. The old parties do not have what it takes to transform our country, to build a Britain we can believe in again. And that's why I've decided to join the Reform Party. It is only Reform and Nigel Farage who can deliver a Britain that we are proud of again.
OK, Jonathan, your views on this. Are you going to be defecting to Reform anytime soon?
Look, I'm sorry to obviously see another ex-colleague of mine join Reform UK, but also understandable. Look, I was out there during the local elections. There's not enough understanding of what Conservatism in 2025 even stands for. So our leader has to really roll up her sleeves and work much harder to actually give people some hope and some vision. I've been a member my adult life, 18 years of the Conservative Party, and I've never felt so despondent about it. However, I do think that Reform have had a very shaky time since the local elections. I think a bit of arrogance has crept in. I think a bit of off-messaging, obviously internal fighting. So this will probably come as a huge sigh of relief for Reform UK. It's the first bit of what I say good news they've had since the locals, and it will see if they can buck their ideas up since.
Yes, well, we'll return to this because we do, as luck would have it, have Dame Andrea Jenkins on the show in about half an hour's time. We'll talk to her about that. But yeah, that breaking news, Sir Jake Berry has defected to Reform, having formerly been the chairman of the Tory party. Right.